G'day guys, it's Calvin from the Cartoon Company down under in New Zealand. Yet another loom in front of me. This one happens to be 170 series crown, so uzs171 is the most common. Come from Thailand. We're going to set it up to go into a American pickup truck that's in Thailand. This happens to be one of the tidiest looms I've seen in a long time, and certainly the tidiest one for the year. So the plan is, because the computer sits in the engine bay, so I went to the dismantlers and I got an Alternator ECU enclosure. Some places in the world you might see them as an IS200. Had a bit of a failure. It does appear that I've bled into it and broken one of the cardinal rules of trying to keep as much blood in your body as you can. Semen out, blood in. Works really well for men's health. So we take the ECU and that will fit nicely into that enclosure. So that's the ECU to be mounted under the engine bay. I've removed all the fittings out of this one. It's got the little D-shaped thing there. And I've removed all the other bits and pieces out of it. If you notice here, same D shape. It fits in absolutely perfect. And funnily enough, if you're doing an IS200 conversion or an Alternator conversion with the 1uz Vvti, this is the loom to use because it fits straight in, comes at the right place, out the left-hand front. Very easy. So my plan is to add a water temp sensor wiring to this, and I still see guys not knowing where to put the water temp sensors on these engines. They don't have one. See, look there. EFI temp sensor. This is an aftermarket one at present, and there is the one for the dash. So just unscrew that fitting and you can fit one in whatever you want. These engines, they don't have one from factory because it's through the CAN bus or Toyota multiplex. So they put them all over the place. But Toyota put a fitting in the block for you, in the front crossover. So I'll add that, add extra wires for the oil pressure. Give it a very quick tidy up with regard to the extra little stuff that falls off on these, which it always falls off. Tape it up, check it over. There's one connector for the breather for the fuel tank to replace. Just double check everything's good and then move on to the body wiring. Oh, I've got a bit of work to do here, and we'll see how we progress as we work our way through it. There's a whole lot of taping going on and some extra wires popped out. Look, for the temp sensor, I've decided to put 2 in because I don't know what kind of temp gauge is going in this vehicle. Here's the trick. It's a piece of support out of a wiper blade, a metal backing out of a wiper blade, and just fit through, feed it through, easy as. I've run an extra earth coming through the earth point there, but pretty much just giving it a good tidy up, checking it all and getting this stuff. So on the top of each of the sensors, each of the wiring, cut it back, and there's that stuff that just falls to pieces. Here's some up in here, there's some there, here it is, look. And just get rid of all of that. This is an extremely tidy loom. Normally I'd pop all the plugs off and replace. I'd normally be replacing all the plugs because they're broken and cracked, and then I feed some braid on. This one, because it is in such good condition, I'm not going to disturb those plugs. There's one that's broken, one. So that one will be replaced, and I'm just using some cloth tape up each of the wires, and it's going to look neat and tidy and lovely. The only other thing I'm adding to this is checking the air conditioning, a fan switch, and an oil pressure, extra ones, just in case. Again, I don't know what is going into this vehicle. Then I'll get into the relays and fuses, but let's get this sorted and keep going. We have the 171 loom now attached to my test 3UZ, and it actually fits up really well. The back crossover is the same. Earths are bolted on, but I need to tighten them. It's all kind of sitting in place. And the coils are the same between the 3UZ and the 171. So that's a real advantage. Things like the temp gauge here, so that can be sorted once it goes into the vehicle. Alternator, boxes attached. Look how well it all kind of fits in there. I was just going to talk about this fella here. See this one here? So this was unplugged, but it contains all the earths for all the sensors. And it normally has a joiner that links them all together. So this one, if you get this, you need to cut the plug off and join all those wires together. See if I've got the proper thing. There's another loom. No, that one's no good. Oh, so there's half of the joiner. So there's an extension of the joiner. And then it has this unit that plugs into this side. There's another one. So they need to be earthed properly. Anyway, that piece needs to be earthed. That plug needs to be earthed. So sort that out. Just there, same sort of principle, where it's got one wire coming in and it bridges out to multiple. They can be removed and just put a crimp on it if you want to. And you can see that if you're doing an Alternator or an IS200, then this loom is the perfect loom to use. I'm going to do a little bit of changing in here. Put some aftermarket plugs on here. Ready to run a loom into the cabin and build fuse boxes. Earthing joiner problem solved. And I whipped that other connector for the drive and 2 out, so those are joined up. But someone's been here before me. Yes. There's wires in there. Aftermarket plugs coming down through a nice big grommet. We run along here. Another firewall grommet. So now I've got to connect these wires into that thing. Bit of traffic this morning. I have a loom kind of working. Fuse box running across to the ECU enclosure. You can see nothing's plugged in yet. Onto an engine loom. Transmission loom's pulled up on because I don't really want to mix that in with the flex plate. Correct airflow meter. Little cartridge type. These two poking out. Water temp sensor, which is just down there, which it doesn't have one, so that'll need to be fitted. I have got the factory oil pressure switch in there, and then these three. Again, oil pressure for whatever gauge gets put in, and they come over here. Funnily enough, temp 1 and 2, colours match, oil 1, 2, 3, and the colours match. We're good so far. I'm going to go through, check power supplies, plug some wires in the box here. Perfect. So I've got a little bit of testing ahead of me. Knowing where power goes to where. That was permanent power to the ECU. This is the drive-by-wire. Oh yeah. It's not going to reach. But my OBD2 can come over this way. Now I have wired OBD2 up as per correct with permanent battery power. If you want it on ignition power, it's easy for me to change. But normally, if you're not leaving a little reader in it, then you can use it on permanent battery. So this fuse is ignition in. So the whole fuse setup relies on that one being good. That's good to me. Then goes the ignition relay. And I can hear it clicking. And that will feed power out to the coils and injectors. An accessory wire. Accessory wire. Coil wire. It's right here. Coils. And then this one will light up when I put the injector fuse in. We have power to the ECU. That's really good. And I should have power back to this point here. Put the EFI relay in. And I can hear it go click, 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 which is really nice. And we'll go into this point here. Put this fuse in. You can actually hear now we have a throttle body humming. Really normal for a throttle body to hum. Now I'm running through and checking all this because it's really important that the whole system works. And it's going to be that one there. Can I reach it? There we go. Power to the airflow meter. And that's a wire that a lot of people forget. They miss that power to the airflow meter. And they run like crap. Not going to worry about that one. We're going to discuss the air conditioning system soon. Right, we'll do the start circuit. Go into the start relay, it's over here. So that's perfect. Because I don't have a gearbox attached, I'm just going to bridge start inhibit circuit, which is this wire here. With the start inhibit circuit bridged there, it will feed back an earth on this wire here. We'll take that out. Hopefully we can see that. These are a little different to the earlier ones, where that start signal went down to the shift inhibit and then came back. This one runs an earth on the start inhibit. And we clip this in here. I think I've got that correct. I'm just going to take the fan wiring out of there. We don't really want to wrap that up. And we should actually have voltage at the ignition circuit now too, at the alternator. The alternator wiring is included in the loom. And I actually think here we have an alternator light. I think I can make it come on from here. There we go, that alternator light is going. So I'm plugging the alternator in. The alternator light will come on. So we have an alternator light. I also note we've also powered up a check engine light now and an engine oil light. We'll confirm that engine oil light is good. Yep. So in that oil circuit, I've got the factory switch, which does go back to the ECU on this one, and these 3 extra wires, oil pressure 1, 2 and 3, depending on which gauge you have. So you can put that in. Start is good. Fan circuits. So for the fan switch, I've got a choice of 2 different heat ranges, a 105 to 100. So that's if I'm running it like right in close here, right in by the engine, or a 90 to 85, and that's for if I'm running it like up here in the top hose, in the top of the radiator. This wire is nice and long, so you can cut it to length and mount the fan switch. It doesn't matter which way it goes. So I'm just going to check fan output. Put a big grunty fuse in it. Now fan 1 is blue. It comes into the fuse box, just here. Hint for the day, turn the ignition on. Fan 1, fan switch, touch these 2 together. Second tip for the day, put the relay in. Woo, that's better. That was my deliberate mistake, because we don't want the fan going when the ignition's not on, running the battery flat. It's awesome. Right, fan 2. Now fan 2 is the air conditioning fan. We'll put a fuse in here. It is the orange wire in this fuse box under the engine bay. Fan 1, switching over here, this is a negative wire, and that's a negative wire to switch it when it returns. Doesn't matter which way it goes. Fan 2 is designed to come on when the air conditioning is turned on. So air conditioning input is a positive from your switch, from your circuit. We need to put a manual circuit in it. And if I touch this on here, I probably need to put the aircon relay in it, which is this one. And you'll see here, that fan goes. Air conditioning on input is this yellow wire in this plug here. So with the fans, this is the main cooling fan. This one, if you want it to be aircon only, then you clip the you clip the green diode under here. Just clip this wire out there and there. And that will stop that one coming on as a main cooling fan. So it will stop this happening. If you have it as the air conditioning fan, I recommend running that one. If you're only running the one fan, then this is the main cooling. This is air conditioning through a resistor. So it drops the spinning of that fan, the speed of that fan. So this is cooling, main cooling. That's air conditioning, either if you're running one fan through a resistor, or if it's a separate fan, just connect it up. So air conditioning is in this plug here. Sure, it's a fuse in, aircon fuse, and there's the aircon pump clutch lighting up. And we're best to fit an early model pump with just a clutch, because this Vvti has got a variable solenoid AC circuit. So I've wired it as a manual type system. And these 2 relays are our fuel pump circuit. Yes, it does run 2 relays, but I didn't put a resistor in, so it'll run a single speed, bypassing the resistor. This green wire coming out is the fuel pump wiring. So with the fuel pump relays in, hit the start button. So that's the fuel pump circuit there. Going over here, the check engine light and the oil light. These are just for testing purposes really. Depends what dash you put in it. The alternator light must be a proper bulb type to give the correct current draw for the alternator. Speedo output comes from this box here. It can be adjusted, but I do recommend an adjustable speedo and a tacho. Great thing about Toyotas is a lot of the signals are similar. Here's a 4AGE distributor. Let's see if we get little squiggly line changes. Oh, can I get it? Can I get it? I can get it. Watch this. Oh, there's the speedo working. Whoop, 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 whoop. Speedo tested. Same with the tacho. Tested. I've got a proper signal generator, but so often it's far easier for me just to grab my primitive way, make it work, put it away, job's done, really easy. And I'm pretty happy. Yep. Stoplights. STP. So you need to use a 4-wire stop switch. STP is 12 volts down this wire when you put your foot on the brake. STI is 12 volts when the foot is off the brake. Open circuit when it's on the brake. So that's your brake light switch, just like in the factory vehicle. Late model Hilux is the same. We'll talk about these two for your transmission very soon, but I'm going to get a scan tool and plug this whole system in and check it. I have the scan tool plugged in and working. And I was going to discuss the shifter, however I'm going to pop that in a separate video. That's the proper Vvti shifter. Let's just see what happens when I do this. Makes the banging noises. Let's get some fuel system into it, make it run properly. Righto, we have the bucket of noise is attached. Slight repair job done on the bucket of noise. Air muffs, ignition. A few other things just to take note of in this loom. There's 4 spare wires here. 2 of them go down to by the air conditioning, and 2 of them are just spare wires running through to the ECU. They come from here to this plug here with 2 spare wires on it, just in case we need to run anything through the loom. We've got plenty of distance. When you connect into this, the main power, a main fuse is recommended, okay? And I believe you have sorted the alternator wiring from here, this one that runs through. I believe that's not included in this setup. Please check you've got this kind of airflow meter, that one there. And I think that's everything. No, I'm sure there'll be other questions. I think I might have forgotten something. The powering up of this unit. Let's have a look at that. Now I have added this temporary switch. Okay. In this plug, there's a permanent battery power. So it's designed to be connected into the ignition switch of the vehicle. So you'd power
the ignition from the vehicle, and you just feed power into ignition in, which is that orange wire. The start input is this green wire, and the AC input is the yellow wire. I'll leave this on so you can just, when you put it all up, you can just power it up and start it. It's in gear at the moment. So that will allow you, but this is just a temporary as a test measure really. When you power it up, you should have an engine check light, and you should have an oil light. And you should have the alternator light. Like that. And that sort of shows you're on the right track. As I said, plenty of distance to run the wiring into the cabin, to mount that fuse box, relay box. This all clips together, you can't get it wrong. Those are your two fan wires, so you can terminate them with a local plug and run them out appropriately. Drill a hole in the box and put a grommet in or whatever. So that's your two positives for your fans. Fan switch. Oil pressure. Matched colours to oil 1, 2, 3. And temp gauge 1 and 2 for whatever temp gauge you choose to fit down there and fit into the vehicle. So I hope that's been helpful. It starts and runs the engine quite nicely, and we'll get it in a box and get it ready to go to Australia and then go to Thailand. There'll be some layouts of wiring to come with it. Bronwyn sorts that for me, and we'll get it underway. I'm going to take it off and put it in a box, and we'll talk to you again soon. Catch you later.